I got this from Rap Genius. I know like you're like one of the reasons Rap Genius exists.
Yeah.
And that's right. I mean the depth of your lyricism, and just as a fan going and kind of getting into it. Listen to the project, and Miss Mural is also one of the songs that really resonate with me, particularly this line where you're kind of breaking down. As an artist, this whole stanza kind of resonated me as an artist, where you're talking about kind of like the commodification of art, and like 1 minute, like we're like, oh, this is like 1 minute it's like FUBU, you gotta have FUBU to be cool, and then the next minute we're like, if you wear FUBU, you corny as hell. Like, we like jump on something and then throw it away, and then you had this line, professionally accept what ethically I hate. So in all of my work, you see me wrestling with fate. Can you just, and like I said, I think this resonated with me, just to me being a conscious person in like the United States, and in like, particularly in capitalism, it's like, it forces you to like, you gotta make money, you gotta live. And here you are as like a conscious brother, inside of maybe the wickedest part. If you said like, what are the wickedest industries, right? The music industry might be number one. So like, can you talk a little bit deeper about it, and kind of, I guess, your walk through navigating it, but also becoming a successful artist? Platinum records, Grammy, all of the things that people look at, like you've achieved that as an artist. Tell us about that, man.
So it's weird because I came up in the music business, and maybe we'll get into more of this as it goes along. But I didn't go to college, so right. I got my record deal when I was like still halfway in high school, right? And I've been in the music business since I was like 18, 19 years old, right? And so I didn't start seriously taking rap serious. Like I'm going to do this professionally until like my junior year of high school, right? And the reason I started rapping is because the school band wouldn't teach me how to play the clarinet, because I really wanted to play jazz. I didn't want to be a rapper.
Wow.
And so they was like, well, we can't teach you with a band. We're not a music class. You're supposed to learn that at whatever. So I was like, okay, I'm a rap. And so this is 2 years later, I'm still learning how to rap. At 17, I'm like, I'm gonna do this for real, right? I'm not going to college. I'm burning the boats, burning the bridges. It's either this or working at the post office. That's what me and my homies, I was telling my homie. And we were doing our little demos, and he was like, yo, we all rapping. I had my little crew, 1500s. He was like, yo, we sound like we all rapping, but we sound like we rap. You sound like you do this for real, right? It's like when your verse comes in, it sounds like you actually could be on the radio. Like when we do it, it just sound like some amateurs. I was like, okay. So immediately it was like, oh, you have a professional tone or a professional cadence or right. Whatever. And before I even learned to get good at rapping, or what I believe to be good at rapping, I was already having record deals. And so I had to learn. I was still learning how to rap as I was in the business. So I was kind of learning on the job, right? So it was like, here's this record, want you to write about this. Or you need a record to write about this, and you need a song like that. And here's an A&R, here's a producer, and here's this. So a lot of my maturation and growth and learning in the craft, the art of rap, came in the same context that I had to learn the business, right? So I was informing my raps with business decisions, and vice versa. I was informing my business decisions to make it more palatable for what I wanted to do as a rapper, right? So it was, for me, it was never a difference, right? It was the same. It was like every step you take creatively has to take into consideration, a business step or something like that. So even I was a gangster rapper, because I was from the streets, right? So I was on some gangster shit. And when Chill caught his case, Chill was my business partner. We had First and 15 Productions at the time, and this was like 2002, 2003. He caught his case. was in county jail in Chicago for like a year. When I got my deal, at that time I was on Arista. When I got my deal with Atlantic, we got the deal to bail him out of jail. So I got my advance. It's like $300,000, but that was what it was to go bail him out. It went straight to Cook County to bail him out. So when we got him out, it was like, okay, he got to go fight this case. And I remember we was like sitting in a car somewhere, and I had already recorded Kick Push, and I had a bunch of other records. I had records with 3 6 Mafia. I had this whole piece, and we had this album, Food and Liquor 0.1 or whatever.
Right.
And it was a decision. It was like, yo, we put all this gangster shit, and then what's gonna happen if the state's attorney turns around and plays that in court? Or we can put out this Kick Push shit, right, and show a different side of what we do, or what the streets are, what the situation is. And it was like, I remember that decision, just for the sake of like, I mean, when Chill got arrested, he had on First 15 shirt.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, what does that mean? And I remember the police were like, I was sitting on the couch in handcuffs, and he was like, you don't know who that is? I was like, that's Lupe Fiasco. He's like, who? It's the police officer. He's like, who? He's like, yeah, rapper. Yeah, we got a deal. What's that? And they had no idea. And so it was like an ethical and professional decision.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what do you want to put out into the world from this point, and for what reasons? Right? Is this your redemption song moment? Is this something else? Like, what do you want the world to see you and your crew and your people as? And being on the West Side, I was around nothing but gangbangers and killers and all that, right? So we skateboarded and did karate and did this other stuff, but everybody was gangsters, you know? And that was real to me. So I was like, the skateboarding is real too. The toys is real. All that stuff is real. The nerdiness, all that's real. But it's also taking place in the ghetto. So how do you navigate that, right? And so in some conditions, it's ethically accept, right? What professional, or what would it be? Like ethically accept.
Well, professionally you hate.
But professionally I hate, right?